I'm glad you're coming around. How you doing?
Anxiety attacks, no sleep, depression, hitting all the cliches. Sometimes it just feels like
You're getting lost up there.
It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay.
Miss Andrews, are you okay?
definitely not.
Hello, and welcome to a very special edition of the Bomb Squad. I'm Director Andrew Hara. I'm here with my co-host Joshua Whitney Epp, and we're here in person. I'm here with my co-host Joshua Whitney Epp. His social security number is Josh. All right, well, we have a very special edition. It's called the Give Your Social Security Number. So we're all in person, and the reason we're in person today is because legs are crossed. We are doing the premiere. It's actually in about 5 hours. And so we figured since we're going to do the premiere, might as well do a live episode. We talk a little bit about our movie, The Empty Space. And so, we made this movie right before the pandemic. We shot it. We had it ready to go, and then the pandemic stopped it. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the making of the movie, getting Valerie on board, Josh working on it as well, and just kind of different stuff that happened along the way. Valerie Alene is the star.
Sorry.
There's no double takes on this one, and my phone is going off, so we're off. This is like Joe
How about
Rogan
you
podcast.
just take stop. Start from the beginning.
This is way no, we don't start again. It's way too fun. So guys, let's start from the beginning. Valerie, will you introduce yourself to the podcast?
Sure. My name is Valerie Alene. I play Amy in The Empty Space. I live in Indiana now. But yeah, this was my first major role in a feature film, and it's exciting that it's finally coming out.
Cool. Yes. And so The Empty Space, it's about a woman named Amy Andrews who has lost her boyfriend, her spouse, and she is kind of dealing with that. It was a violent attack that did it. So she's kind of trying to collect her life again. She's going to support groups, and she's kind of slowly building it. And then her boyfriend comes back, and all her dreams, all her wishes have come true, at least the ones recently. And as she spends more time with him, she realizes there might be something a little bit off about him. It might not be the perfect partner that she thought it was going to be. And so she has to decide whether she can live in this kind of fake reality or whether she wants to know the truth and figure out how to live in the real world. The movie came about when I was living in Los Angeles. I guess I always had anxiety, but it was the first time that I had to put a name to it. And I think one of the biggest reasons that I couldn't put a name on it, or I didn't want to say that I had anxiety, was because I hadn't, I would watch movies where people had anxiety or depression, or they were battling mental illness, and they were always sad, they were always bummed, they couldn't leave their house. And I was going to the gym, me and William, who's the other host of the movie, or of the podcast, we would still go to movies, we'd still have fun, but there was just something wrong. And so once I kind of started getting better, I wanted to figure out a way to put that on screen and kind of relate that. And so that's how we came up with this movie. And we wrote it. I think it took 2 years to write, just because we really wanted it to be important. And also it took me to some dark places that I had to revisit, which is never super fun. But we filmed it, and then I think Josh was the first person who saw it. Josh, do you remember that first Predator 2 ending that we had?
Dude, I still like that ending.
Pablo Medina, who plays Brian in this movie, was originally a bigger character when it was called, I think it was originally called The Disappearance of Amy Andrews. And it starts off with like a phone call, like a phone,
It's
like
more,
a message.
Just more action packed.
Yeah. Well, and Pablo plays like a DJ. And there was like this huge.
He's a DJ and a healthcare worker who she meets, who's like kind of becomes her sidekick.
What happened to this version?
Well, it became too much about Pablo Medina. We kind of took away from
Detective Pablo.
Because at one point, Amy goes to like a club and she's like surrounded by like these figures, and because she's being followed around in every version of the movie, she's being followed around by this dark figure, and in this version, she goes to like a club party, and then she's like surrounded by the figures, and they like attack her. But it didn't make sense why she would want to be in a club, and then she like goes on dates with guys. It was just like a lot. I threw like everything at the wall for that one, and as we were reading it, I was like, we need to take out Pablo. We need to like kind of hone in, and so we like rewrote it, and then it kind of got closer and closer. I think I kept the love interest up until like the second to right before I sent it to you, actually, because it was like that juxtaposition of having like a new love and then with Noah, but it just like it was too much, and we really wanted to keep the story focused.
So I could have dated Pablo in the movie.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't. It was actually a third
He was
character.
the third guy. No, Pablo was like your like best friend that you meet in the movie, and that. And they also like there was a lot more office worker antics too, if I recall correctly.
There was no support group. Everyone worked at the office. So
Okay.
like Rachel, Pablo, like Brad. The Brad characters were still there. They were just in the office.
Gotcha.
Right.
And also, the only reason I kept Pablo in for so long is because I wanted to do a spin-off where Pablo finds true love at a DJ competition. And then I realized that I wasn't making like a connected universe.
You're not doing the MCU for.
Hey Andrew, it just went off, but it's picking up air condition.
Oh, that's okay, because it's a podcast, so people expect it.
People expect it to be bad.
We have all of our 100 subscribers are used to this level of work that I put into the podcast.
Andrew's mom and my nephew will be like, "Is that an air conditioner in the background?" Unsubscribe.
There is one guy who's like, "Hey, did you like this movie?" And I'm like, "How do you listen to our podcast and not know whether we like the movie or not?" It's like all it's about. So then we kind of honed it in. We made it about Amy, and then I think I was following Valerie on Twitter, and then I saw she auditioned, and I was like, we're just like, when we do auditions, we kind of just go for anyone that we think has any kind of like interest, because you want to kind of like when you're dealing with independent films, you kind of want to find someone who's hungry, so to speak. And so Val had mentioned something about it and how like it was her dream, and I was like, oh, let me take advantage of
Take advantage of her dreams.
Yeah, let me bring her over here to see. And so I sent her the idea, I sent her the script, and if we're being honest, Valerie didn't believe me, because why would you believe someone who sends you a random DM? And so luckily I had made the other two films, and so I had them on IMDb. I think at the time Last Ones was still on Amazon, so I think I sent it to you, right? Or did I send you Borderland?
I think Last Ones was first.
Yeah. Last one should be
That's
first.
the real one.
Yeah.
Borderland.
For anyone watching at home, you should watch Last Ones first and Borderland if you have time. And so like we kind of got through it. And Valerie, will you tell us a little bit about where you were when what stage of life you were in?
Yeah. So I was finishing up grad school to be a nurse practitioner, and so I was right in that in between before I had my first NP job, and I've always wanted to act. I had done another like independent film in college, just a smaller role that, again, just like, let's just audition, see if I get it, and I got a little part in it. But then just life became more about school and healthcare and that kind of stuff. But I was like, now's my time. If I'm gonna go for it, like I might not get another chance. So auditioned, and yeah, I didn't know if you were telling the truth. I mean, a stranger on the internet. So
Right.
I when I did come for my in-person, I brought my dad with me as my bodyguard.
Yeah.
So he showed up on your doorstep as well. And yeah, auditioned, and then you told me later I got the part, and that was that.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the thing is like whenever you're doing a film, especially one like this that's gonna throw the main character through so many different angles, and she has such a complicated role, you really want them to trust you. So like there was a lot of like back and forth, and like you can't take it personal just because again it's like a random person on the internet, and it's a huge commitment. Like you're asking, I think we filmed for 21 days, and so you're asking someone to come for a month to a whole new city and just kind of live and like work on this thing that you don't know if it's ever gonna get released. Like I have high hopes usually, but even I don't know, you know. And so we really, you know, we started building that relationship pretty early, and I think one of the best ways to do it is just to be super open and be like answer all the questions and like don't take offense to anything. And like when she wanted to bring her dad, I was like, yeah, that's cool. And you kind of like you had to, because we also I had already auditioned you a little bit online, and this was so that we could, because like it's not just the audition. You want to make sure you kind of vibe with the person, because we've had films where we didn't vibe with the person, and it makes it harder. We still get it released, but it does make it harder. And so we brought Valerie in, and we had her audition. I know you auditioned with Marlon, or with Dion.
Yeah, and with another actress too. Yeah, you had me like read with some people to see how it was going.
And the great thing about auditioning with Dion was that I already knew that I wanted Dion for a role, because he had been on Borderland, he had been on The Last Ones, and he had been on a couple of other things that I did, The Hound. And so I wanted her to audition specifically with him just because I already knew how to work with him, and so I wanted to like see how it would all work together and not have to worry about giving Dion directions as well. But again, I mean, I was successful. We went to White Sands. We took some promo pictures that will never get released because they were overexposed. You don't realize how bright White Sands is going to be. But after that, I think we just kind of like, we spent a couple of months just reworking or like working on the script and kind of like making sure. Because for me, I don't know how other directors do it, but I like to have the character. I would rather have the characters talk how they normally talk, as long as they get the point across, than to try to get them to say what I wrote and have it come off super awkward just to make sure you say my dialogue. So there was a lot of like figuring it out, and like I said, it's a lot. It's a complicated role. I mean, how did you approach it, Valerie?
Well, first you sent me a list of sci-fi horror films to watch, and just told me to watch them and pay attention to the characters and to try and, I guess, get the vibe that you were going for, or different aspects of different characters that were inspiring it. And so I think hopefully that helped. And then, yeah, I remember asking you specifically, I'm a very detail-oriented person, so I was like, what are you going for in this scene? I wanted to know how you wanted it to look, and then I worked to make that happen. And / also what you're saying of like, that sounds awkward, me saying it, so how about like this or whatever. And I wanted to try my very best to make it as good as I could.
Yeah, well, and like the thing is, every aspect of this is playing into Amy's character. I mean, she starts off in wearing pajamas, wearing kind of these very loose, like whatever she could find in her room kind of clothes. And as the movie progresses, you see that wardrobe change. And so every single thing that we were doing, like the camera angles change as she kind of loses focus and regains it. And so it was good to be able to like bounce things off of Valerie, and that she was so willing and so detail oriented, because it's always helpful to be able to talk about like, oh, in this scene we wanted to look like this because of this, you know, like there's a scene early on where she gets a job, and we wanted it to be very blue because it's like that kind of that like dead machine, cog in the machine, like working at a call center, calling people to repossess their cars like some kind of monster. And so you wanted that look, you know, working from home, not living in Portland ever.
Can't relate to any of that.
I know that when you started sending me the wardrobe as it got closer, I was like, what am I wearing? But then you're like, yeah, you're wearing bright pants with stars on them, and yeah, you're wearing this. And I was like, all right, here we go.
If you watch the movie, you'll see what Andrew would wear if he was in it.
Which I still have basically all those. They are still my pajamas that I wear on the regular.
You became Amy slowly.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the funnest part because, like, last one's is a zombie movie, so they just kind of dress however. Borderland, they're very, like, everyone kind of wore their own wardrobe because we never
You shot it in a week.
Because we shot it in a week and Pablo kept changing what he wanted to wear. But this one, this is the biggest film where we really wanted every single thing to we didn't want to take any shortcuts. That was like how I approached this film. Even in storytelling, usually when I wrote the other two, it was kind of writing around the locations we had. This one, I just kind of let everything go. That's why there was a club in the original. There was like the office that we keep, the support group. It was like this stuff I wouldn't normally put because it would be hard to afford, but this time we were really going for it. And so I think there was even we even talked about how much you should smile and when you should smile more, 'cause
Yeah.
we really wanted to, every scene we wanted to hit something.
Filming it out of order was challenging for that too, because you're like, no, you're not happy right now. Or now you're a little less depressed now, so you can look a little less depressed, and trying to keep track of, is this before or after? And
Right.
But we kind of wrote all that down too with the wardrobe, and yeah, filming it out of order and figuring out what mood I was in that time. And but I learned a lot about movie making and acting from that. I think it was a challenge I liked.
Yeah.
And it's like, your hair should be more messed up in this one. And then I'm like, I just had to do it. For the last one, it had to look nice. So then
And I also learned about hair
figure
because,
out.
yeah, we had to, because your hair for the party scene was curlier. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we had to be very specific about when we were going to do that.
When do we want Val to curl her hair?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
it's going to be curled for the rest of the day.
Because of the nature of the film, they go to multiple locations in multiple time sequences, and it'll make more sense once you watch it. But so we really had to make sure we had Stephanie Strahan on set for a lot of the continuity and just making sure things were going well as our AD and stuff. And so we really because it's such a complicated plot, it's such a complicated movie, just not just in the story but in filming, because we had to. Like we said, we had Joe Sinclitico come in during in the middle of the shooting, and so we had to shoot all his parts, which were before and after and during everything that's going on. And so it was, like I said, I don't think I could have done it without Valerie and without that dedication, because you wanted someone who understood oh, in this scene we're doing it this way, and then we're immediately gonna switch, and it's 2 years later. And I'm in the same clothes. It's 100% different,
Yeah.
And that's also when we got Josh. Josh, you came to set.
Sometimes.
What were you doing on set?
Yeah,
Just
sometimes.
producing?
As a producer, I just watch
Yeah, that's
other people working.
the best kind of producer.
That's mostly what I did. You guys shot at White Sands, right? I wasn't there for that, but
No, I think that's when you came in.
I didn't go to White Sands. So
We
must have
did
been just
Salt
before.
Flats and Red Sands.
Yes, we did Salt Flats. And that's because it had the water and it looked real cool.
Must have been a challenging shoot on the desert.
That was the hardest day just because Dave forgot gas in his RV that he decided to bring along. And so we had to fill it with gas. We ran out of gas when we got there, and so we shot everything. And then Rachel, who plays Mel, was coming in, and Joe is her now husband. And he was nervous to pick her up, and then we also were out of gas, so we had to have George Cervantes, who was our kind of key grip. We had to have him drive to the gas station, fill up 5 gallons of gas in one of those things, come back, put that into Dave's RV, drive the 5 miles, and then he would go back to the gas station. We had to do that for 6 times.
Sounds
Yeah, I think you sent me ahead with Joe to go pick up Rachel.
Because I was like, you guys need to go ahead.
Yeah, there's just nothing for you to do.
We both.
But it was dark too. We went and we lost the light immediately. So then you had me do all mine in the dark. It was a little messy that night.
But it was
Well,
but
definitely.
it actually fits in the movie when you see it, because of what's happening during that part where it's
Yeah.
very existential.
And now we changed it so it's we did the special edition with those new effects, and so it makes even more sense.
Be interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah,
that's
I don't
the
think I've
thing.
seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I showed you a little bit, but it was later.
I saw like one image of him with the hand.
Yeah.
So I figured-
Ooh,
Well, it's that
okay.
thing where like, I mean, it's an independent film, so we're going off of, like, you have to like know what you're doing so that when things fall apart, like someone forgets to put gas in their car, you can like shift because we only had that location for one day, and so we kind of spent way too long there, but no one seemed to come, and so we just kept going. But it was fun. I mean, we also filmed in my grandparents' house. That's where Valerie's character lived, and that was also fun. We forgot. That was a skeleton deleted scene, where there's like a skeleton who visits her. It was like a skeleton monster type thing, and we shot all that, and then we left
trying to
the
remember.
skeleton in there because I didn't think anyone was gonna go there, and then my grandpa like decided to sleep at that house. And so he went into his bed and he like opened the bed and there was like a skeleton just lying in the bed. And he got so mad he like kicked us out for a day.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean I think it was fun. Our shoot was surprisingly well. I mean other than that one day, and like some little stuff with like character stuff. But I think everyone worked well together. Like the chemistry of the cast really comes together. You know.
Seemed like everybody.
Nah,
Got
shout
along
out to
well.
Joe and Rachel just had their baby.
Yeah,
yesterday.
congratulations.
Yeah,
Congrats when you don't watch this.
Well, they actually had that. They had their baby last
Maybe
week.
they'll
By
listen.
the time this comes out, yeah. Because next week we have actually, this is the second time in a row you're going to see Valerie, because we just premiered She's the Man this Wednesday. It's upcoming.
It's coming out this coming
Mhm.
Wednesday?
So it's going to be
Okay.
Valerie, She's the Man, and then this
So
episode,
if
and
you
then
have
Joe.
anything else you want to say about She's the Man that you forgot?
Okay, well, good.
Now we have. But yeah, I mean, the best thing once the movie's on Tubi, we'll get even more into different kind of spoilers, and we'll talk a little bit more. But I just wanted to like get us to the point where we are ready to film it, because we do have the premiere. I'll put some pictures up. I don't know how it went because we haven't gone yet. But I think the coolest thing about this movie is that it really shows what you can do if you're, if you find people who are super dedicated, if you want to have a story to tell. And I think Empty Space is a story that I really wanted to get out there. I'm very excited that not only was Bayview premiering it, but we're working together. We just, their marketing team has been great. We're very excited. We have this premiere tonight, it's my first real premiere. I mean, we had one for last ones, but it was part of a festival.
Yeah,
This is one where the event is specifically for us, which is super cool. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch people watch it. It comes out today by the time this releases, so go check it out. It's on Google. Anywhere you can rent a movie, you can go buy it at Walmart. Just be like, hey, bananas and
Oh, you
Empty
can rent
Space.
it online too after this?
Yes, you'll be able to rent
Okay,
it
sweet.
and buy it. Also, Valerie, I hope you don't rent it.
I will buy 10 DVD
I own a
copies.
copy. Why am I gonna rent one? Come on.
I meant for other people.
Yes, but yeah, you can rent it on Amazon, on Google, on Vudu, on most of them,
You do
and then
Prime.
Hmm?
Prime.
Google,
Yeah.
Amazon Prime.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amazon.
It's like the first thing I said. But yeah, so go rent it, go watch it, let us know what you think. It's on Letterboxd now, so go give a review and say this movie has cheeseburgers or whatever they read on Letterboxd. And yeah, we'll see you guys at the premiere, guys. Any last things about the Empty Space?
Go rent it. Give it a shot.
Yeah,
Go
check
rent
it out.
Don't even rent it, just buy it.
Just
I'm sure
buy
you'll
it.
like it.
Buy
Yeah.
it sight unseen.
Buy it and then buy an extra copy in case the other digital copy goes away. Buy it on every platform.
Yep.
But yeah, well, thank you guys. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys at the movies.
All right.
We'll be dressed better for the premiere.
Marginally better.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be dressed cool. I don't know about. I'm gonna wear these weed.
I'm probably way too formal, but
You think so?
my first movie
like a
premiere. I
button-down
gotta
shirt.
go for
I
it.
didn't bring a tie or a belt.
Cut.